Every time I'm about to talk, the inflatable tank in the War Thunder hangar will move its barrel and it distracts me greatly.
Well, don't look at it.
Like, literally every time I'm about to start the video,
Yeah,
the barrel will just start going... See, did it again. As many of you are probably well aware, War Thunder is going to be running a bunch of sales over the next 2 to 3 weeks. We thought it might be a good idea for us to come up with a list of 10 vehicles, ground and air, that we'd like to recommend to new players or average players that are looking to get the most value for their dollar. These are vehicles that we're recommending in our own opinion, that aren't based off a bunch of science or fact, just things that we have good experience with or that we feel is good value for the dollar. If there is a vehicle that we recommended that you don't agree with, feel free to leave a comment, or if you think that something should have been included in the list, again, feel free to leave a comment. We'll do our best to answer them. If you have any questions about certain vehicles that aren't talked about here, we will also do our best to answer those. For anybody who'd like to be up to date on when and where War Thunder sales are happening over the next month, we will do our best to keep a War Thunder Discord channel updated with those sales and where they're happening. And lastly, before we start the video, I would also like to remind you that we have a War Thunder affiliate link, and if you happen to do buy anything off the War Thunder store, it will be sent back to the channel to help us continue to make content in the future. I do my best not to take on any extra advertising or sponsors, and this helps me not to do that. Thank you so much for those who use the link, and you also get a bow time decal. Alright, I have Xterra Jim and FaZe Escaped with me today.
Howdy.
Hello.
And they're going to be helping me out as we go through the top 10 ground and air vehicles that we recommend. And the first vehicle on the list is the CV90105, or as Jim called it, CV90210, because he's old.
Yeah. That Cali Rock, bro.
This is a Swedish light tank at 9.7 battle rating. That is normally on sale for $59.99, 2,000 Golden Eagles, 15 days of premium. And I would expect it to probably be going on pretty good sale here shortly. This is a vehicle that I wasn't particularly very high on about 3 months ago until a recent patch completely reworked this guy into a monster. It has an autoloader, it fires DM33, it has what, Gym 3 thermals, right?
Yep.
New turret. This thing is an absolute monster. It just went from battle rating 9.3 to 9.7 because it was destroying everything in its path too quickly. And I think Fate, it was you that recommended to me about a month and a half ago to start playing, and then it's been kind of an addiction of mine.
Yes. I recommended this thing because I love my light tanks, and this thing fits my playstyle perfectly. I know you like using light tanks. With a 5-second autoloader, you really just can't go wrong with this thing.
Especially now that they just recently added the Finnish subtree. If you're looking to grind out Swedish and the Finnish tanks, this is my recommendation for how to do that quickly and efficiently.
And also, this thing has the ability to go toe-to-toe with all the top-tier MBTs from its own BR all the way to 11. I personally do not have this vehicle, and the more we're talking about it, I am thinking of getting it. But I will tell you that sometimes when I go toe-to-toe with it in my Abrams or my Leopard 2, sometimes it outmaneuvers me and gets me. So I would highly recommend this as well, just from being on the business end of it.
And I think this is actually the first Swedish vehicle we've ever recommended in one of these videos with, like, right off the bat. This thing is such a monster after that update.
Like I said, the only con for it that I have is the fact that it's got 3 crew members, and other than that, I would highly recommend it.
Yeah, unfortunately at that battle rating, you're either going to value maneuverability and agility over armor and crew members, right? So it's usually best at 9.7 to hit first and hit faster than to try to survive a hit.
Yes.
So that's why I prefer that vehicle, and that's why I personally prefer that playstyle. The next vehicle that we're going to recommend to you is the Somua SM. This is a 7.3 battle rating tank. It is for sale on War Thunder Store, Xbox, PlayStation for $39.99, 1,000 Golden Eagles, and 7 days of premium. It fits in really well for a 7.3 lineup. You have the Foch tank destroyer, you have the AMX 1390, the Char 25T, and you got a couple good air options too with the French, the AD4 and I think the F4U7 are also really good planes to bring with it.
So my personal opinion about this tank, it is a good tank. I like playing this tank, but also I've been playing this game for years. Now, seeing that it only has a ballistic cap shell with no TNT in it, sometimes, depending on what you're shooting and where you're shooting, you kind of got to understand the best place to shoot inside the tank to do the most damage without the TNT. So if you are new to this game and you really, really want to just jump up into the big Cold War tanks, I would hold off on this personally until you kind of understand the ballistics of the game. But for me personally, who's been playing this game for years, I love this vehicle. That autoloader, 4 seconds, and how many are in the ready rack? Does anyone know?
8 rounds in the ready rack.
So essentially, you're in a French revolver. I feel like John Wayne in this tank, but French.
It's very fast. They may call it a heavy tank, but it really moves like a medium. You'd be surprised at how fast this thing can get around the battlefield.
Yeah, my brute honest opinion of this thing is that you're going to have amazing rounds with it, you'll have good rounds with it, and you're going to have terrible rounds with it. And that's going to be based on matchmaking. If you get thrown up to 8-3, it suffers a bit.
Absolutely.
If you can keep it at the 7-7-7-3 range, or even, you get down tiered, this thing is an absolute unstoppable monster. But if you're looking to grind out your French tech tree, and at the price that this thing is at, I wholeheartedly stand behind this tank. So next vehicle on our recommendation list is the SU-11 at a battle rating of 7.0. You can pick it up normally for 7,480 golden eagles. If you're a newer jet player, this would be the premium that I would recommend to you. To put it lightly, this aircraft's on the recommendation list because it is a bit broken. The SU-11 produces about 30% more thrust compared to the ME-262s with the Juno engines. It out-accelerates, it outruns. It's OP, I'll just say it. You can get yourself into trouble, you can get yourself out of trouble, and that's why I'd recommend it to new pilots, because you can get yourself into some bad situations and still have a chance to fight your way out.
Now, me personally, I use this jet more of post-air support. Now, I don't really have a lot in my normal Russian air tech tree, so I got this and I figured, well, it'll help me with my Cold War tanks. And it actually, surprisingly, it does. If you are pretty good at bombing, those bombs on there, they are pretty effective. And of course, with the ability to just run and gun and get the heck out of there, you usually have a pretty good chance of surviving and not missing pieces of your aircraft in the battlefield. Being is that it does have a 37mm cannon on it, it is also very good for punching soft targets. Whether or not you actually do get bomb kills with it, it doesn't matter, because then there's going to be other planes in the air late game, and you can protect all your allies on the ground by shooting down at least all of them.
Next aircraft on our list is the XP-50. At a battle rating of 4.0, this is actually a rank 3 vehicle, so if you're looking to grind out events in the future, this is a pretty good option. It is for sale for 1,600 golden eagles, and I think this is absolutely a steal, even at full price. So if you get this thing on a sale, you're just making money. This thing is hated by everybody that faces it. Other teams will generally target it because they want to see it explode and be smited into the ground. This thing gets an air spawn, crazy rate of climb for the battle rating, good turner, very powerful armament. The only thing I'll say does not have any bombs, so if you're looking to use it for ground forces, there are better options. But this thing dictates the fight, helps you really get good at boom and zooming if you're looking to refine those skills. But for American Air RB, at this battle rating, this is really like the top dog.
I will say it is a very unique looking plane. How many cup holders do they have?
Yeah, I definitely do feel like a salesman at this point because I just picked a bunch of vehicles I'm super passionate about that I love. I like buy the XP-50. And this next vehicle is going to make me even seem like more of a used car salesman because it's the T114, which when I really push for it to be added to the list, everybody's like, why? It's a little devilish Satan monster that kills everything.
You got that right. I have a couple other words, but they're not family friendly.
Battle rating is 7.3, rank 5. It costs 8,020 golden eagles, so if you're newer to the game, I would say hold off because, don't blow your mortgage on this guy. But if you've been playing War Thunder for a while, and I'd say if you're at the intermediate to advanced player level, this thing is just a blast to play. Literally, it fires like heat auto-loaded. It's a monster. Has a really cool reload animation. Only has 2 crew members, so if somebody catches you with a machine gun or a shell, you're probably dead. If you get the flank or you get the drop on somebody, or a squad, or a platoon of tanks, you just rack up the kills. But if they see you, you're dead. So you kind of gamble there. But I also really feel that this thing's immune to most battle ratings because the shell it fires is just so devastating to almost anything it hits. 433 millimeters penetration. So it can well enough handle tanks to 8.3, 8.7, 9.0. It doesn't care. As long as it doesn't get stopped by ERA, and you're like an annoying little mouse running around people's feet while you murder them.
Absolutely. There's nothing better than circling around a large, heavy Cold War tank, or even a modern tank that's ginormous, and just watching it trying to catch you, and you're just biting its little ankles. And then you go out, and then you just, you get them, and you go away and on to the next. You are a little monster.
I'll be honest, if you're sick of IS-6s, IS-3s, IS-4s, T-10s, T-55s, and you want them to suffer at your hands, this is your tool. I'll say that. I'll stand behind that.
If you understand the concept of no armor is best armor, and you have this amazing gun, you will rule the battlefield in your tiny, bite-sized, fun-sized, free sample tank.
Just don't get caught by the enemy.
Correct. They will turn you inside out and hang you up on like a rafter or something.
And I think it is worth pointing out for those of you seafarers out there, this thing is amphibious.
Oh, that's right. It is amphibious.
Oh yeah.
So you can go on sea adventures.
It needs water wings though, because when it say it's adult swim time at the local pool, it has to come out of the pool.
I promise I'm not being paid by guys to promote this thing. I just really love this thing.
It's R2-D2 with a Death Star gun, if I could be a nerd for a second.
The 3.2 second reload rate, you'll be hard pressed to find guns that reload that fast.
You guys remember Monty Python and the Holy Grail where they see the rabbit and then it ends up killing almost half of them? That is this vehicle.
The holy hand grenade?
Absolutely.
That's how the Russian heavy tanks feel.
Mm-hmm.
Alright, we should probably move on before we get any more, gushy over this thing.
Oh, it's so cute, though.
It is. Up next, we have the KV-1C 756R, which is at a battering of 5.0. You can pick it up normally for 2,980 golden eagles. Basically, the best way to describe this thing is it's Russian armor with a German gun. This is a vehicle that probably would have normally not made it onto this list, but with the recent addition of the VK at 5.0, and you also have the Oswin 2 and some decent planes, this thing can make a pretty good lineup that won't see your Pershing stuff at 6.3. Russian armor, German gun, pretty forgivable. I think it's a decent tank for a newer player who wants to start getting towards the Panther/Tiger range. It's a powerful tank. It's definitely one of those vehicles that I normally see dominating, or at least making the other team struggle to take it down.
Yeah, if I could say that, if you could choose one premium on this tech tree that was early game, maybe you're still at 3, maybe you're at 4, maybe you're just creeping up on 5, I would definitely consider putting this in as your first 5.0 tank. Even if all you have is 4s, you won't need to use them, because this is a good tank. It's nice to give some other players a taste of their own medicine, because I will tell you, that gun kills Panzer IVs way easier than it can kill KV at certain angles.
Jim, do we need to talk about something? You got something you need to unload?
No, well, sometimes you're the bat, sometimes you're the ball, and then with this vehicle, when I play it, I'm the bat. When I play against it, I'm the ball.
You'd be shooting T-34s and KV-1s with this, though, for the record. And IS-1s. If you're shooting Panther IVs, you,
Oh, right.
Right, because it's on the German tech tree, not the Russian tech tree.
Oh, my goodness. Wow. I should eat my Wheaties today.
No worries, I was just a little concerned there. There are some Panzer IVs in their tech trees now, but I just wanted to clarify that in case.
No, I know exactly what I'm talking about. I'm not crazy. Oh, this is a good vehicle. In fact, it's so good, it's making me crazy.
When I got this tank, this was probably one of my first premiums that I bought. I used it along with the T-34 747R. They're both really good tanks, and they'll get you through they'll get you through a good portion of the German tech tree. They'll get you right up to Cold War tanks, or near enough to.
Up next, we have another one of my favorites, the G55S, which you can pick up in-game for 4,300 golden eagles. To give you a quick rundown on this aircraft, if you're not familiar with it, it has 3 MG151 20 mils. One is located in the prop hub, and the other 2 cans are placed on the wings, 1 per wing, of course. It is a fantastic climber. It's a good turn fighter, and at its battle rating, it's very competitive. It has a split radiator underneath it, so a torpedo can fit right down the bottom. I don't necessarily find a lot of use for that, but if you ever want to go sink a ship or throw a long tube at somebody, you can. we're actually going to kidnap Hambone without any notice, because he's another strong believer in this aircraft. I want to bring him in for his opinion.
I'll go get him, boss.
Hey Ham, we're talking about the G55S. You're being put on the spot.
Oh God. I like to think of it as the Italian 109. Really good at a lot of things. Really good armament. Really good performance, in my opinion. It's like, why not? And a premium booster too. I mean, you experienced it, right? You saw what it's like. It's like just power and guns.
The thing I found really nice about flying it is that you can take on A6 and 5s or any of the other kind of higher Japanese prop planes. It can fight other 109s. It can fight the Super Corsairs. It really matches well against other planes' styles, right? Either in terms of speed, things that climb you or whatever. It really like adapts well to the enemy that you're fighting.
I don't recommend dogfighting A6Ms, but sure, the other stuff, yes.
I'm just saying it meets up well against this competition, no matter what that competition may be.
No, you're right. You're right. It's a good balance of all different things.
I think in the hands of a good pilot, it can pretty much dominate any foe that it comes across. I will say the thing you're going to have to get used to is the firing of the guns. Once you get used to that, you should be able to shred just about any air target out there. You'll see.
I strongly feel like this is a good buy. This thing nudged out the A6 and 5 Co for the spot, which I know a lot of people like. Ham and I just personally feel like this thing's a little bit more unique and a little bit better than the A6 and 5 Co, especially when there's so many other A6 and 5s in the tech tree. The next vehicle that made our top 10 is the IS-6.
Oh dear. Oh boy, here we go. Batten down the hatches. We're talking about the IS-6.
The IS-6 has had a very long and storied history in War Thunder. Right now it's at a battering of 7.0. You can pick it up on the War Thunder store, PlayStation, Xbox for $39.99. It comes with 1,000 Golden Eagles and 7 days of premium. This heavy tank's a beast. Even though it may have lost a step over the years with the way the game has changed and the other vehicles that have been introduced around it.
In stories and literature, it's usually about a hero defeating a villain. But rarely do you get to see where the main character is a villain and a hero. They're usually called anti-heroes. I believe the IS-6 is the anti-hero of the game. It is a very good tank. It is very, very... if you really like dopamine, I'd say get this tank. If you're the type of player that really likes to fix your bayonet and just charge right into the enemy and just watch turrets blow up, this is a great tank for you. Or if you like to be the type of player that likes to hang back, maybe just kind of wait for their prey, it can also do that. I would say this is the Swiss Army knife of War Thunder heavy tanks. It can do anything.
Yeah, it's definitely a tank that you can brawl with, and it's another one, like you said, that you can make some pretty long shots with that 122. Correct me if I'm wrong, I think this thing reloads like something 6 to 7 seconds faster than the IS-2s or any other tank that fields the 122
yes,
at that
20
battery.
seconds. 20 seconds, I believe, is what I'm seeing currently.
And the other tanks are typically like 26, 27, 28 seconds. So
yeah,
it's that's pretty crazy right there.
And when you talk about its mobility too.
You wouldn't believe that this thing's a 50-ton tank, the way it moves, the way it shifts its weight, the way it turns. This thing's stupid. It is like dark magic put into a vehicle, and when I think the game has passed this thing by, I take it out and I just realize that nope, it's still competitive.
I have played this game sleep deprived with this tank, and I do pretty good. And I am really bad at this game when I don't get a good night's sleep. Also, another good thing about this tank, it has a pretty quick reverse gear. And now my pet peeve of a lot of vehicles, especially in this game, but also in real life, is their abysmally slow reverse gear. This thing will get you out of trouble as quickly as you can get into trouble. And you very rarely get into trouble with this one.
Not nearly the powerhouse it was when it was first introduced, but it's still a good recommendation for a newer player who's looking to play Russian heavy tanks.
Yeah, I would say it's a seasoned Kingpin. It's a little rusty, but it can still hold strong.
The next vehicle on our list is a Wyvern. It is at a battering of 4.0, and you can pick it up on the War Thunder store, PlayStation, Xbox for $29.99 and 1,000 Golden Eagles. Comes with 15 days of premium as well. This is a turboprop aircraft with a counter-rotating propeller, which is right there pretty unique. It has 4 20mm cannons that come with lots of fancy belts. The ground belts are pretty fantastic, in my opinion. And it has more armament than it's disgusting. At 4.0, it can carry 3 1,000-pound bombs, 2 Red Angel rockets, which are pretty fun. and then a slew of different rockets. It's fast, it sounds cool, and it's devastating in air and ground RB. 1,200 rounds of ammo for the 20 mils. If you are running your Fireflies or Concept 3 or your Comets and ground RB, this is a very, very good vehicle to pair with those. And if you are running air RB, this is a very good aircraft to go and strike bases, strike ground targets, and it can also get into a dogfight and do pretty well. It is a heavy aircraft, so I do not recommend turn fighting it. It is something you want to keep in a straight line or keep your energy high, make your strike, extend, turn around, and come back in, and things will struggle to catch you. I'm going to shut up now and let the other two speak.
So you're saying, for a guy who really uses planes only for close air support, you're saying that I should have bought this a long time ago?
95% of the time, if I'm running 4.0 to 5.3 or even 5.7, this is the aircraft to rely on.
I can take it all the way up to 8.7 or any other BRs that I have and run this in my lineup, and it always consistently does well. It's got very high straight line speed, as we've said before. It's got a very good bomb load, and it really is a good plane to take with you, even if you only play ground RB. I highly recommend this plane to anybody who wants a cast plane to run in their lineups.
I think it's a freaking crime that this thing's at a battering of 4.0. Because I believe when it was introduced, it was like 4.7, and I thought it would go up, and it went down. And that's probably because it's not a great turn fighter. That's pretty crazy to me. That's one of the few aircraft that I think is greatly undervalued in the game right now.
It can get you through most of the British air tree. It can get you, yeah, pretty much through most all the British air tree by itself. And I think you'd have a fun time doing it.
The very high recommendation for us. If we didn't rank these things necessarily in numbers, but I would probably tell you that this thing will be in the top 3. The last vehicle on our list is going to be probably a little controversial, but give us a chance to explain why we picked this over a couple other things. The last vehicle is the T55 AM1 at a battering of 8.3. You can pick it up on the War Thunder Store, Xbox, and PlayStation for $59.99. It comes with 2,000 Golden Eagles and 15 days of premium. Immediately, I can feel the comments being typed, why did you pick this over the Terms T? Sterling actually gave like a 15-minute dissertation the other day about this, so there's some very strong feelings in TBLF about why the T55 AM is the better buy over the T72. So the T54 and IT51's at a battering of 7.7. And this guy's at a battering of 8.3. Has the added armor package, laser rangefinder, barrel launched ATGMs. We strongly feel it's under battle rated right now at 8.3.
This was actually one of the first Cold War premiums I had purchased a few years ago. And this was back before when I was still in World War II era tanks on my tech trees for both Germany, America, and Russia. So this was actually my first introduction to top tier, and I did pretty freaking good. I love this tank. It's a special tank to me, not just because of, hey, you know, baby's first Cold War tank, but also now that I've played this game for a few years and I have, you know, 10.7, 11.0 tanks, I bring this as my second and even third string tank, and I still am able to put up a fight. Yeah, I may not have thermals, but if I see ya, probably going to kill you.
If you already have the T55 AM, then we probably recommend to you the T72AV Terms T, as well as the recently added 2S38. If you don't have any of those, we strongly encourage you to get the T55 AM1 over the Terms T.
Yes, because this will also be a good three-dimensional lesson on how the higher tiers play, especially with Cold War tanks. You know, your laser rangefinders, your stabilizers, your ATGMs. This is a very forgiving tank. It is a perfect teaching tool for you to get out of kind of the World War II slow doctrine and into the fast, high stakes that is top tier in Cold War vehicles.
Yeah, that's really well said, Jim. It's just going to be a better experience for you as a player. It's going to be easier, more manageable, a little bit slower, and you're going to do better when you do get the 9.7 by playing this at 8.3 for a period of time.
And heck, when you get to 11.0, still put it in your lineup. I do to this day.
I've been killed by this thing many times, even at higher BRs, and this thing, from everything I've seen, it is a monster. It's just, it performs really well, and I see it consistently at higher BRs, and as you guys have said, there's a very good reason for that.
Just like the Wyvern, it's a really undervalued vehicle in War Thunder. Under battle rated, probably a little bit underplayed in my opinion. And that's why we're here telling you to get this over those other two options. The 2S3, it's not going to go on sale for a while anyway, so that is our top 10. I hope this has been helpful, maybe a little bit educational. Before we close this out, there are a lot of good vehicles that did not make the list, like the T14 for America, the T29, the A6M5 Co we mentioned, the WMA for the Chinese tech tree, the Roy Cats, the Tiger 2 Slaw. I know there's a lot of them that people are probably screaming, you know, why wasn't this mentioned? Just for the sake of time, we could sit here for, as I've done the past, like 4, 5, 6 videos in a series talking about this stuff, but I also didn't mention any high-tier jets because I personally feel that if you ask 10 high-tier jet players what their favorite jet is, you're going to get 10 answers. That's something that's pretty niche, that everybody has their different preferences and playstyles. I have my preferences, I have my experiences, which are different from everybody else in high-tier jets, and I feel that once you get to that battle rating, you can probably pretty well educate yourself on what you like and what you don't like. So that's why no 9.0 plus jets were mentioned in this list, if that's fair. We just want to put something out this year that was hopefully a little helpful and just take a look at 10 vehicles for you. If you like this type of content, let us know, and we will do our best to probably do a little bit more of this in the future. Again, I'd like to remind you that we do have the affiliate link, and I ask you pretty please to consider using that. Thank you so much to Jim and Fate for joining me today. Thank you to all the TBLF guys who took a lot of time to help share their opinions and their feedback when we made this video here today. And what am I forgetting? Also remember, check our Discord, the War Thunder Sales sub-channel, for any updated information about what goes on sale, when, and where. Thank you so much for watching, and we'll see you next time.